So I wanted to talk to you about Chinese happiness with the central government. There's still a minority of holdouts, especially among people who have not been to China, or those people who are trying to frame China as something terrible and bad. Now, for those of you who've come here, and I meet people who come here all the time, there are a lot of Americans, a lot of Europeans, a lot of people outside of China, people from Asia, people from Central Asia, people from Africa, and they're coming here and they're finding out, wow, China is amazing. So you talk to people and they're happy. You ask them about, what do you think of, government policy and so forth, and they're really happy. I've lived here 12 years. I've talked to thousands and thousands of people over those 12 years, and there is a sense of patriotism, not, jingoistic patriotism, but love for the country. There's a sense of that the leaders are doing a good job. And why wouldn't people be happy? If you look at the reality on the ground, you see that the government is improving people's lives. But before we get to that, I just want to talk about Western institution, University of Harvard. Harvard, probably the most prestigious university in the world in terms of Western eyes. They say, and they have a longitudinal study running for many, many, many years showing that roughly 90 to 95% of the people think that the central government is doing a good job in China. So if you talk to people about this online, they say, oh, okay, it's rigged, or they're afraid to speak their own opinions. Well, I live here. And that's not the case. People are genuinely very happy. So you have other institutions, Latana, which is largely by people outside of China. And they do surveys of countries around the world, and it usually shows year after year after year, Chinese people are among the most satisfied with the central government, close to 90%. And then you have Gallup, you have Latana, you have Harvard, all of these Western-based institutions basically saying, yeah, Chinese people are extremely satisfied. And people are confused about that who have never been to China, or they've watched the wrong YouTubers for too long. So why is that? Imagine that the government makes things better for you. Year after year, decade after decade, life is improving. You see life improving. That's what's going on in China. We have this term for us who have lived in China a long time. We say China speed. Because, 2008, no high-speed rail. 2024, 45,000 kilometers of the best high-speed rail in the world, more than any other country and all other countries combined. So you have this going on, not just with high-speed rail, but with, infrastructure of all types, buildings, malls, roads that go to every part of China, all the kinds of infrastructure improving, quality of life improving, absolute poverty gone by 2020. That doesn't mean that there are not poor people, but there's no one starving to death left in China. So you have this immense feeling of progress, because you see buildings going up, highways going up, new cars coming out, your family's getting richer, your friends are better off, your kids are going to better schools, they're learning more than they learned before. You have access to a middle-class lifestyle that you didn't have access to decades ago. So from the beginning of the founding of the PRC to now, China has been chugging along, improving life for everyone. Of course, if you survey Chinese people, they're going to say they're happy with the central government. So when I see these bizarre arguments online that say that people are forced to say that they're happy when they're being surveyed by Harvard and Latana and Gallup and so forth, these people either haven't been to China or they're deliberately slandering China to get more views on their YouTube channels and so forth. The data shows that Chinese people are happy. People from the West who live in China see that Chinese people are happy. The people I interview are happy. Now, if you're not acknowledging that, the reality on the ground, you're not in the conversation. The conversation is people love the government is doing a good job. Now, what do we make of that? How do maybe we change things back home or deal with China in a different way? But if you're over here and you're not acknowledging that Chinese people are happy and love the PRC, love their government, you're not part of the real conversation. You're not part of what's actually going on. So we need to keep in mind that it is true that Chinese people love China. Chinese people are patriotic, that the vast majority of people love the PRC, love the CPC. These are the facts.
Elvis has left the building.